As someone who has respected Mike Rowe for a very long time, I've always enjoyed pretty much everything that he's done. He has one of those voices that you can just listen to for a very long time. I even recently made a video about, my own voice versus someone like Mike Rowe and my content creation and voice changes and stuff like that. I have nothing negative to say against Mike Rowe, and I don't really have anything negative to say against what he's advocating. He's out there making the push for, young people to get into more blue-collar trade jobs because those jobs have some level of security against the future. And that is absolutely true. That is absolutely going to be true for the foreseeable future because while I do believe that we will have robots doing pretty much everything for us at some point in the future, we already have the technology to get there outside of just the thing that we're missing is just the portable energy storage to be able to make that work. We're getting very close to robots that can function on their own, maintain their balance, perform tasks and things like that. And if we can program them with specific abilities and specific reasoning skills, I think we can get to that point. They won't be sentient or anything, but they'll be able to function in a way that allows them to do the kind of blue-collar work. But we're still years and years away from that. As for the white-collar stuff, and they mentioned it in the video, that's something that's already going away right now. And while I commend Mike Rowe for his advocacy for getting people into trade jobs, that doesn't do anything for those of us who tried to go after what we were told to go after. The basic idea is that he believes that we were all sold a lie. Go to college, get a degree, go find a job in an office and learn and program or learn to code or whatever. Yeah, that is a lot. That is what we were sold when I was young and when I was a kid, and it's basically what we all kind of focused on. I served 11 years in the Marine Corps, but I also grew up during that era where you were supposed to go work in an office. Like if you wanted to be successful, you had to go work in an office. And once I got out of the Marine Corps, I focused on trying to find office work. And now I'm in the second half of my life, and trying to start over in a physically demanding trade job is just not something that's feasible for me. Like especially after the disabilities I accrued from, the 11 years that I served in the Marine Corps. I am not a cripple by any means, but I am disabled enough that spending hours and hours a day on my feet is just not feasible for me. My back is jacked up, my legs are jacked up, and I'm 42. Like, even if I didn't have, these legitimate disability problems that I have, at 42 years old, trying to switch from a life that you were doing where you were trying to do office work to now you have to go do like super physically demanding stuff that you're just not used to doing at 42. Like I know if I was in my 30s, okay, suck it up, buttercup, go get some work done. When you start getting into your 40s or 50s, like some of us are going to, like some people are going to, like some people from, the previous generation, like we're getting old. You know what I'm saying? So it's great. It's great to get the younger people to start addressing the fact that, there are better situations to get into. But the other part of that conversation needs to be, well, AI is coming in and it is ripping away careers from people who, at the time were making the right decisions. None of us had any logical basis for knowing that AI was not going to come in and make the low-level stuff easier, because up until this point, technology was just coming in and, taking away a lot of the menial, repetitive, manual labor stuff. And we thought that AI was going to come in and just continue that process and keep lifting people up and lifting people up and lifting people up out of having to do these physically demanding jobs. That's just not the way that it's going. Businesses are deciding that rather than really focusing on trying to, take out the bottom rungs, they're going after the easy path of taking out people who are doing office-related jobs, And, you as a person who maybe those of you who either didn't want to do it or couldn't do it or whatever it was, you might not have any sympathy for somebody like me who was told that this is the path we should have taken. We went down this path and took this path, and this is the stuff that we're trained for, and now the things that we're trained for just aren't useful anymore. And now what do I do? I'm in the second half of my life here. It's not exactly easy to just start over all the way from the beginning again. And you know what I'm saying? It's like, so the point of this video is that I agree with Mike Rowe in that especially young people should really be looking at trade jobs for your careers moving forward. There's a high demand for it. You have a high chance of being able to maybe even start your own business and make your own wealth out of that. But at the same time, there needs to be some kind of a conversation about what to do with the many of us who at the time were making what we believe to be right decisions. At the time, it was the logical decision to make, and then the script got flipped on us, and we just kind of got screwed over. So, sorry, it moved over to another video. Can I go back, please? It's all frozen on me now. Hello, what are we doing? So yeah, that's all I'm saying. It's one thing. I don't know. I can understand the argument for, retraining people in their later years for jobs that are physically easier, but it's much harder to ask people who are older to train for jobs that are physically harder. And I think that's something that really needs to be taken into account when we start moving forward into this new technological era. And I don't really know what the solution for that is, but I know that as we continue to move forward into this new AI era, it's harder and harder and harder to even find listings for jobs that I'm qualified for anymore, much less actually getting an interview. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like we're just totally screwed unless we're going to do what? We're going to try to go out and do some kind of heavy physical manual labor job that we're not trained for, and we have to start over from the beginning. Because here's the thing. I've started over several times, and every time you start over, you have to start all the way from the beginning, from whatever it is that you're doing. There are no handouts there. My military service, while it helps me get hired, doesn't give me any perks. It doesn't allow me to jump the line and get into any kind of like management position anywhere. If you're going to go to work for a construction or company or something like that, they're not just going to let you walk in there and take a management job with no construction experience. No, you got to go work in the field first, and then maybe we'll hire it. And then, you see what I'm saying? Your experience in a different field does not help you in a new field. You have to start over from the beginning. And that's just not feasible for somebody who's later in their life. So what do? We're just screwed. There's no options for us. We have to come up with something. We have to come up with something that compensates us for the short-sightedness of previous generations who told us that we needed to do this. We did what we were told we were supposed to do, and now we're screwed. That's all I'm saying. There was no, I understand this sounds like trying to foist off responsibility, but the reality is that nobody really could have known that this is how it was going to go, right? Maybe some people who were super forward-sighted, maybe they saw that. But history so far is that the worst jobs were getting washed away by technology, and everybody was able to move up and have a better job with an easier load, and it was less on you. And now it's kind of inverted. The rich people get to keep all their money. The young and physically able are able to go out and try to find jobs doing that kind of stuff. And those of us who are middle-aged and physically disabled, I can still be productive, but there's nothing for me to do. So that's why I'm here doing YouTube, because I haven't had any other options. That's why I'm here. So, it's not a sob story. It's just this is the way that it is. And if we're going to be compassionate towards people like me, you can't just leave those people out in the lurch. We got to find ways of, allowing them to not leech off the system, but find a way for them to be productive in a way that doesn't require them to destroy themselves doing it. I don't know what that looks like, but it is something we should talk about. So anyways, thanks for watching. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to help us reach our first 1,000 subscribers, and I will see you for the next one.